What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking in Bits, where we walk you through Bitcoin bit by bit so we can provide you with the information you need to succeed and persist. Back where episode 45 got Ben in the house.
Is Bitcoin dead, bro?
I don't know, man.
What happened?
Is it like Michael Jordan when he had the 45? Because that was a shitty few years. Yeah, he was pretty bad at that.
Yeah. Even just a financial context, end of year, people always sell stocks. So markets kind of, even financial markets.
What's a stock? I don't know. Yeah, I got you. But yeah, people are getting ready for the next year is what it sounds like. Yeah. I don't know if it's dead. I joked with you before you got here that this is Bitcoin giving me back my compass opportunity.
Yep.
All those thousands that I missed on the way up, back up. So I don't know what it is. I'm one of those guys, man, where like, I saw a picture of, who was Obi-Wan Kenobi's, is it Qui-Gon Jinn? I think it was Qui-Gon Jinn, which is like Obi-Wan Kenobi's mentor Jedi. Like he was just sitting in that like red field, right?
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, it just feels that way to me, man. It's like, as we talk about all the time, an opportunity to buy more. Like it's just another shot to just get more of this thing that we're gonna later in the show talk about is running scarce.
Yeah. I mean, when you understand what it is and the problems it solves, I want the price to stay where it's at, actually. You know
yeah.
100K is great, but let me stack some more.
Yeah. And you know, unselfishly let y'all stack more. Like, listen, this is I'm big on this for sure. We got to get ahead of these corporations. We have to get ahead of all these big dogs because their incentives come from a fiat mind, meaning that they won't transcend very well. But the plebs mentality comes from, you know, that scrappy mind, from that survival mind. And I think this is what Bitcoin needs to actually flourish, is the survivor, the sovereignty, not the how do we trick people into buying it or how do we do this shit or this mentality stuff. So I like it. It's a good price. Go get it if you don't know already. I saw, I don't know his actual name or whatever, but Dr. Bitcoin is, I think, his handle. Yeah, he posted earlier something very critical, which is I used to tell people to learn about Bitcoin and then buy a little bit. Now it's reverse. You buy Bitcoin now and then learn while you go. Yep. And then you'll get more convicted. You'll buy at a faster rate. You'll figure out strategies. But there's so many different ends to Bitcoin too. Like you can like the financial stuff, you can like the techie stuff, you can like the node stuff. Like so many different ways you can get exposure to this asset, and it doesn't require selling the house. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what people think. Like you see these big entities, and you know naturally in life people forget how long other people's journeys are. But you see somebody who already has like 7, 5, 6, whatever coins, and it's like, oh, now I need to try to outdo them. You don't. You just need to stack. Stay humble is the mantra. Just stay humble. Buy what you can. Scrape in whatever you're not using. But I promise you, as you start watching this show, as you start learning, as you start doing these things, you're going to probably want to sell your house.
I haven't alluded to that in my Facebook group, but there's been some conversations and people are always like, why would you mortgage the house to get more Bitcoin? I don't get it.
Because I could buy 100 houses in 5 years. No.
Bro, legit. I could buy me a village in 5 years, fam. You don't get that. Like,
no, and there's just like small chippets of companies talking about how they're merging Bitcoin and real estate. Like this is in mortgages, and this is starting to happen.
They're already talking about escrow. I saw an escrow post earlier.
This is what I'm saying.
How to multi-sig Bitcoin and escrow as a down payment for a crib?
Listen, I'm going to say this right now. Shout out to Unchained Capital for defining multi-sig. Like there's a lot of companies that were trying it, and by far did Unchained Capital not create multi-sig. And call it a shameless plug, call it whatever you want. Go do your research. Don't listen to me. But multi-sig, to do a lot of the big things in business and mortgages and situations that require complex contracts, right? Or situations. Multi-sig is king. It's king. It's the verifiable way to protect everybody as long as the agreement is set up properly between those keys. And the fact that Bitcoin allows you to make, we've talked about it last week, I think, like bigger keys, 5 to 7, bigger quorums is what they're called. That's really big too. But the 2 of 3, you're going to be able to get mortgages on 2 or 3. You're going to be able to, like, you're already able to get Roth IRAs with 2 of 3. You're already able to, where you hold it, like, not like I trust them. You hold this stuff. So, you know, that whole argument of like, who owns the mortgage, right? It's the bank.
Yeah.
1,000%. Like, you know, you can feel like you own your house, but you don't. The bank does. But man, if I got 2 of 3 keys of that mortgage, I feel in a lot better position knowing that whoever the other side is can't fuck me.
You hold the leverage.
We've never had that. We've never had that.
Yeah, people don't even grasp that.
No, they don't. And I don't want to speak over that because I don't even grasp it, right? Like it's there. It's just early. But like, yeah, like why would you sell your house now? Because if you're doing it smart, you're trading a fiat asset for one that's going to be leveraged by Bitcoin pretty soon. Or you're trading fiat asset to do something bigger, right? So it's one of those things. Why not?
Simultaneously.
This isn't financial advice.
Yeah, this is not financial advice.
Don't sell your house.
But right now, banks are talking about how to basically do Bitcoin loans, right?
See, but that's why I talk about the institution, though. This is where a little while ago, we have to get in before these banks doing all that stuff. On-chain Capital does that, first and foremost. BlockFi does that, but who the fuck cares? You don't own your keys in BlockFi. So, yeah, so more banks are going to do this. The banks are probably going to lean towards the BlockFi model, I'm sure. Not because they're banks, but because I don't think they'll understand Bitcoin enough to be able to like offer their clients the majority of the keys. So what banks are going to do is what BlockFi is doing is we're going to pretend to give you a key or whatever, or give you like a cell phone key, Keiser. What a nightmare that is. But anyways, that whole situation where they're going to make you feel like you got custody, but you don't actually have custody.
Kind of like the PayPal IOU.
Sure, yeah. So it's like, get the sats before these come. These banks are going to come in and do that. And all they're going to do is just, similar to what they did with the gold. They're just going to have you hold it there. And then eventually when they be like, ha, it's ours now. And then at that point, it's like, this is where 2 of 3, this is where the empowerment of, Bitcoin native companies, right? This is where they understand it. They fight for the same thing, the sovereignty of it. They want to give it to their clients. They rather navigate than be the guru, right? Like I don't want to tell you what to do with your wealth. I want to show you what you can do with it, and then make that accessible for you to do that. You think banks are going to do that, fam? It's over.
Yeah.
Get in there before these banks do that. I'm telling you, we're gonna talk about it a little bit later on. This supply is dwindling. And they're going to catch on because their constituents are going to catch on. Somebody above them is going to catch on. If they're not already, I'm sure they are. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. I'm not a financial expert, but I got Bitcoin right. It doesn't take a genius to get Bitcoin right? You just need to understand a few big things. So these banks are already in there. They're probably just waiting for like the proper legislation or the proper protocol to be able to launch a product.
Yeah.
That somewhere in that like 50-page contract is going to say that they're going to rug pull you. You just won't notice because you want your local bank to support your Bitcoin and you're excited about that. It's a bad idea, man.
Yeah, I try to stress the importance of self-custody.
That's what we should do to the core. Yeah. Like if we want to talk about, Satoshi's church and we want to talk about these things. Yeah, no, because I do understand the concept of Bitcoiners kind of being like this like inclusive religion. I get that. And yeah, if we want to preach the gospel of Satoshi, it's that. You don't go backwards in this. Like you don't have a sovereignty tool that you then relinquish sovereignty of. It just doesn't make any sense. So I agree with you. I don't preach it on and continue to preach it. I do the same thing. I was talking to somebody earlier where I was saying like my levels of like when I really fell in, and cold storage and wallets and that whole situation was very early on in that journey. It was like one of the very first things. Nodes were first, ironically enough. And then cold storage I went in on, and that's probably one of the better things you can tell somebody is to own it. But people are scared of that too. That's not an everyday thing.
They're making it easier.
I think so.
Yeah. And I think, again, 5 years from now, it'll be eye scan, one key, finger scan, another key.
I hope not, but that's relinquishing your privacy.
No, it is.
Yeah, like we're going away here, and like you're gonna get stuff like that from Apple.
Yeah,
like Bitcoin integrated Apple iPhone wallet, and it's gonna do.
I can already see it, bro.
Right, but we need to get away from that. All fucking like it's cool to. It's one of those things where I guess there's enough space for everybody to eat. So I'm sure these things will exist, and they're gonna make $1 gazillion off of that.
Yeah.
But like when we talk about later on scarcity, that's probably the theme of the show is the scarcity. When we talk about that, there's not enough room for everybody if you think about it.
Someone had posted. They were talking about strike and how people are DCAing every hour. And someone did the math, and he was like, "It's only going to take 4 million people to DCA $1 every hour to like get all the Bitcoin available."
Is there any cons to that? To DCA every hour? Like,
I did it. It was annoying.
I think.
See, nobody thinks about that, right? So you're getting a strike notification every hour.
Yeah.
And you're getting an email every hour. So to me, I was just like, all right, I just switch back to DCAing every day. I haven't been in a while because I've been mining.
But like, what's the advantage of actually? Like, why would somebody want to DCA every hour? I don't know. I mean, I get the point of a constant exposure.
The constant exposure.
I think this is just another people.
Is it gimmicky?
People think I hate strike. I don't hate strike. I actually use strike like on a daily basis when I pay bills and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think this is just another great marketing tool.
Yeah.
I think this is just like you understand your target audience, which is the plebs, Right? You understand that plebs love to stack and show it off.
When he did the video preview where they were sending remittance, he was basically framed it like people were getting paid every minute. You can stream sats every minute or every.
Oh, can you? I'm sure you can. I mean, you can do it with Lightning Podcast 2.0, but like, are people getting it directly like that? I don't know.
I remember him showing that in the video, and I was like, oh, wow. Like, flex on the technology.
Just a great marketer. And it is a great product. I use it. I just wonder, is it a great product because you're so far ahead? This is the whole Compass thing, right? Like, what happens when there's other strikes?
Right.
Like,
where are you at?
Right. Like, how good is your product?
I think they'll innovate.
I'd
like to think.
They're by far ahead. But now I think about, like, you know, you've kind of taken the chains off of Dorsey, right? Now he can go, and so he could out capital your ass, and he could outwork your ass, and he has we talked about it, the music pipeline, all these pipelines that you just don't have an ability to do. Matter of fact, I think Jack was one of the ones that kind of commented on the LDK, which is a Lightning kit, and was like, "Oh, we can all use this," and instead of doing what he usually does, which is pitch his own product, right? Like, yo, we have this, whatever, and he has an APA. He actually said API. He actually said it on stage in Miami. Like, we're going to release it. We're going to open source Strike. So Dorsey beat him to the punch. And now he kind of has no choice but to say, oh, yeah, kudos to you. That's dope or whatever. But I think he's just what happens when now that the LDK's out, now that more companies can envision a type Strike app where fiat goes back and forth and all this stuff or whatever.
They're just going to upgrade their Square customers to Bitcoin through Lightning.
Yeah,
they already have the customer base.
They got that later on. We're going to talk about the get on zero or whatever. But they have that level bank that I guess is saying that you could on the fly have a bank account that does that or you receive it. I went as far as downloading the app and I was like, damn, the KYC here is ridiculous. Like, it's crazy. And it's not that I've never KYC'd before. Is that another one?
Yeah, I don't want to keep
right for a service that's not proven yet. Now they have the right idea of mine and all that stuff. But I don't know how related he is. The JW dude is related somehow to that. I don't know if he's just like a shill for it or if he's like close with the board. Like, it's just like all the early signs to me. I'm like, be careful about this company or whatever. But you got other people like Laser Hodl trying to say like this is how he's getting to zero. I don't know how much of that is a shill. I don't know how much of that is true. But eventually, my point is that there's gonna be more strikes and more. Like Square is gonna be the first ones to do that. Oh, what are they, Spiral now? Whatever the hell they call it.
Spiral.
They're going to be able to do these things. And then to me is like the Compass thing again. Like, will we be saying these things about Strike that we're currently saying when they're the only ones in town? Because they have a monopoly on it right now. Like this whole Lightning to fiat thing. It's like, I don't think it's done anywhere else, is it? I mean, no, like
only spot I know.
Yeah, you can like go in fiat, but like for them to be able to do it both ways, I think that's the real like foundational piece of that app right there. So. We'll see when more people come around. LDK kits and the Strike API, if they were to ever release it, is going to help a lot of developers be like, well, I could do Strike better. And the whole point that I bring that up is I don't know how far you can get with marketing gimmicks like DCA every hour. Unless I just don't see the benefit of it. Maybe exposure is the only benefit I see, but that's nominal exposure. Like, I don't know what. I see dudes doing $1 every hour, right? Like you said $1. That's what you're doing. Okay,
I was.
Okay,
just to see.
I thought you would have went for more. Yeah. So yeah, I've seen $1, but I've seen people do like the limit, the 50 cent, whatever the cap, and I'm just like, I don't know how that's beneficial.
Yeah.
I think once again, you understand your marketing audience. You understand that they like to stack and they like to show it off. It's easy to just promote your ad by telling people that they get DCA every freaking hour.
Yeah.
But like the benefit of that needs to be explained to me. Maybe I'm just being too picky. Other apps have DCAing, but what makes the Strike one different than any other app?
Yeah.
It's the fact that you could do $1 or 50 cents or whatever they're saying.
Yeah, I haven't seen any other Lightning to BTC, so.
Yeah, but like on Cash App, for a perfect example, you could set up an auto DCA.
Oh, you could, yeah.
It probably is as cheap as $1.
Yeah.
Right? But the problem is that
it's once a day.
That's not their fundamental piece of their app. So that was just a throw-in. Yep. Like you saw how Strike was now able to turn this into a marketing thing where like now you go through your feed and people are like actually bragging about this. I just need somebody, fellow plebs, hit me up. I just need somebody to let me know how it's smart to do so.
I mean, on a day, I think today there was some price action, but if there's big movement in the price from, one to when Bitcoin falls 10%, we're talking $5,000 off the price, $6,000 off price, right? So if that dips and then the bottom gets eaten up, like everyone basically on exchanges, you can set like limit orders where or market buys where when the price goes from 69 to 55 or 49 or 46, 47, you can have a market buy at 46 that says you're going to buy X amount of Bitcoin. It could be $100 worth. It could be 100 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But it auto places that because when that dip happens, if you don't have those buys like set up ahead of time, you're never going to catch that dip manually.
Yeah.
Because if you go to buy that dip on Cash App on whatever exchange, A, they freeze. B, you never get it because the orders that were already set ahead of time are at that bottom.
Gotcha.
So that's
like headache, man.
Right. That's the
Just
only
buy
thing.
when you got it. Buy where you got it.
That would be getting max exposure to dips.
What's $1 a day? Did you? How long did you do it for? Like what?
Like a half day. It was too annoying, bro.
$600 or something like that. What is that?
It was too annoying, bro.
So 60, right? $1 a day. So $60 an hour.
$24 a day.
What's that? I'm stuck at math. So 6 times 24, probably about a G, close to a G a day.
No. If you're buying $10 an hour?
No, like $1. Right?
No, $1 is 24, right? So that's
$1 an hour. My fault. I'm thinking $1 a minute. My fault. You're right. Yeah,
$1
so $24. Yeah, you're balling. But that's what I'm saying. Like, what's happening here? And I want to know this. I don't know if he announced this or not. What's the market price that you're getting this constant DCA, man?
Yeah, they gotta show that stuff.
They be hiding stuff, man. Yeah. He's a good marketer. He's an awesome marketer, and it is a great product. I'm gonna be real though. I'm gonna be real, 100%, and I'm always 100% here. I wouldn't use it if I didn't get the benefits from like Moon and from Bitrefill. Like, I know on a global level that's a smart thing, like a useful tool. So like the El Salvador situation is a perfect example. I don't send money across seas that often.
Yeah.
Strike doesn't really do anything for me besides allow me to leverage technology to get better deals, right? Like, because obviously if you don't know shit about Strike, you're not living 5% off. And since I've gotten the ability to use Strike, I pretty much lived my whole life 5% off. Like everything is at least 5% off. Never mind going up.
20% off your utility bill? Like I need that again, bro.
So it's like, but even the 5%, like, out of rough numbers, inflation 6%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just off of using Strike, you could at least get 5% of all those expenses back.
Right.
That's just
on top of your, is it just USD? I'm trying to think if I used my credit card with it. Like in conjunction.
I personally do not.
I think that might be Lolly.
Yeah, I personally do not. But it's just, the way that you can kind of offset by just being ahead on technology and being able to use these things. So, but like that's the thing about Strike to me that I keep in mind. I use Cash App often, honestly, and they can really surpass Strike when it comes to that. But Jack has a really good Bitcoin, following, a really good, like loyalty ship. Strike has a really good loyalty ship. I definitely want that app to grow and succeed, but I want them to compete is my point.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't think they're competing.
Yeah.
And they say they are, but like, to the ground, Coinbase, fam, if Coinbase is it's not even a competition. Like you guys have smoked them just by not being them. Facts. Right. So it's just one of those things where it's like, I want to see when the next Strike comes around or when Square decides to like up the ante. All right, what are you guys coming with now?
They have to be working on that.
Who, Strike?
Yeah, with these dudes just dropping the Lightning kit and they were talking about a mining kit at home, they have to have some.
That's what I'm excited about.
Ideas,
yeah, but like, how many ideas can you keep coming up with, right? Like, I don't know. Like right now, it's like you were ahead of the game, so your app was useful everywhere. But now you think about like the impervious browser, and you think about like a lot of different things that are including Lightning, and it's like. Well, now your use case becomes very small. And right now, in my life, I don't want to speak for everybody's life, the thing that you're winning there is that fiat to Lightning or Bitcoin conversion. You're winning that game right there. But a lot of people can do that very well.
Right.
And I think Cash App does that very well. Actually, the majority of the United States has a Cash App, I would like to think. And you could literally just hit a toggle now that says Bitcoin, and it sends Bitcoin just like Strike does.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not their core piece. So listen, everybody's gonna think I hate Strike. I love it.
No, we're just talking competition.
Right, I use it, but I want to see them compete properly. Just like I want to see Compass compete. I want to give Compass the benefit of the doubt when I see 3 or 4 players in the game and they're actually innovating or they're doing something bigger. But as long as you're fucking people out of miners and as long as you're allegedly mining for the government, I really don't got much love for you. Like it's just one of those things. So let's see what Strike can do. Speaking of like, we've been talking about like financial native companies and banks coming in. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to point some type of hypocrisy. And, Bitcoin Magazine has been around for a very long time. They have their feet in there. But something I want to bring up. So I saw a Bloomberg article, which was nonsense, which is just, once again, trying to shoe what inflation is, where they were basically saying their recommendation is that you spend your paycheck right away. Like,
that's what they do in third world countries.
They have to. It's a forced thing. So Bloomberg says, this is December 12th, some of the advice on how to cope with rising inflation includes. I want to stop there because how to cope with when everybody in government or everybody in D.C. or wherever the hell they're at are telling you that inflation is not happening. All right. Cope with it. So now we're getting some acknowledgement that this is happening. You can't deny it. It's undeniable now. So cope with rising inflation includes spend your paycheck right away. Fam, go work for 40 plus hours, man. As soon as you get that, go buy yourself some McDonald's. Go buy yourself that nice little TV that you wanted there. You're going to have to pay the car note back. The car note's always haunting you. You're going to have to pay that mortgage back. The electricity then just don't went up. You might as well just get rid of that damn check. Matter of fact, before it gets to your bank account, you should give your bank permission to forward it off to everybody else, according to Bloomberg here. Wow. That is some shit. Now, to the hypocrisy, I don't know if you want to add a point to that.
Yeah, it makes me think of Safeteen's new book, The Fiat Standard, where I think the subnote is like the solution to debt to slavery or something like that.
Yeah.
But just the idea that like we're free people because fiat has been invented and the powers that be still have power over everyone.
Definitely.
Because they're indebted.
Got that as a holiday gift. Looking forward to that read.
That's probably going to be solid. Yeah. I got to listen to his books or read his books like 3 times just to
for sure. No, that's why
because they're so dense.
I put it on my list. Showed up today, so cool. But I gotta wait. I gotta respect the wife's wishes.
Did you hear the conversation with him and Peterson?
Jordan, I think I'm the one that told you about it.
Yeah, you told me about it. I finally got through to it.
Really good stuff, man.
Solid stuff.
Very solid, man. Yeah, no, the guy, he's doing his little book run, which I appreciate, I respect. But he's always been consistent. He's always been one of those Bitcoiners that jump in there and say, hold on, I have some influence. I have, Austrian economics background. I have. So, like, it's good to have those guys. That's what I be telling people. Listen, all right, I'm a loudmouth. Fuck it. You don't listen to me, whatever. There's a lot of smart people in Bitcoin. A lot of very smart people in Bitcoin. And smart is subjective. I do understand that. But they're out here constantly backing Bitcoin and constantly proving people wrong and, calling out hypocrisies and bullshit. Listen, it's part of the onboarding. You can definitely take my word for it, but you should do your due diligence and see like the Safeteens of the world. And you're going to go through like this whole different mind fuck that's going to be like, whoa. So yeah, shout out to Safety. Looking forward to the read. But the hypocrisy I wanted to point out is that there's another Bloomberg article that came out. This is Bloomberg Intelligence. What the fuck does that mean? Bloomberg Intelligence. But Bitcoin is in a consolidation bull market. Only a question of time until 100K.
Yeah, they play both sides. That's how the media does stuff, bro.
Well, the last one wasn't shared by Bitcoin Magazine, but I know Bitcoin Magazine was one of the ones that poked fun at it. Like, look at what these guys are saying. Pay, a lot of people were. Everybody. Because it's stupid. It's a dumb thing to tell somebody. Like, yo, fam, you got kids? Blow your paycheck before they see it. Like, what? But you gotta understand that at that point, with that logic, Bloomberg is not the people to get information from.
Yeah.
So for Bitcoin Magazine, who I think is extremely established, to have to reach very far enough to be like, yo, that's the only thing we got to write about right now is that Bloomberg said is going to, yo, fam, Bloomberg, I don't listen to them. That was obvious from the previous post. Why are you putting this nonsense in my face? Like I'm supposed to care what Bloomberg thinks about 100K.
Yeah.
They've already shown to me, just like other fiat legacy stuff has shown to me, that is pointless. So I just wanted to point that out. I don't want to pounce on Bitcoin Magazine. I actually don't really read Bitcoin Magazine, but I know they're big. I know their presence. I know they've been around. But who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like they're wrong. They're wrong. And they may be right, but I don't care because you made yourself wrong by telling people to blow their shit immediately. Which is it's pretty bad. Now if you're gonna buy Bitcoin with it, we're gonna get into that pretty soon on the Get On Zero.
Yeah.
But they didn't say that. Right. They just want you to go and buy that McDonald's and the Walmart run and all these other fast food giants and conglomerates that are stealing your soul every single day. So it's one of those things. This is not related at all, but it is kind of related because I believe one of the early writers, if not the founder of Bitcoin Magazine, was Vitalik. Is that true?
I don't know.
I heard he was the founder. I don't know if that's true or not, but definitely one of the early writers when he was a Bitcoiner. By the way, I'm pretty sure Vitalik is still a Bitcoiner.
I believe he still holds Bitcoin.
Yeah, he's not ignorant. He understands what's going on here. If he wants to rug pull y'all on the other end, that's different. But he understands what's going on here. But you brought up this really good point where Keiser met with Vitalik in 2012.
Yeah, he had a tweet where he had met with him in 2012. Keiser met with Vitalik, and I guess Vitalik was pitching him on Ethereum, and he was pointing out how it's like centralized. Like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't like, this is why I don't like fiat. It's centralized.
Yeah. So he probably laughed him out the room pretty much.
Yeah, and Keiser's a smart financial dude. Like, he has a financial background.
Right. I was about to say that. I don't see Keiser as being a bullshit artist. I don't see why he would say this for no reason.
He was heavily invested in financial markets. He was a big player, and he kind of walked away from it. And then he was with RT.com reporting on money. And at that time, he was stacking Bitcoin at, $12.
That's crazy.
Teaching everyone, like, the truth about money, and fiat, and financial markets, and, manipulation in the stock market, manipulation in real estate prices back in 08, 09, you know what I mean? So he watched that whole thing happen, and then he watched Bitcoin from, $1 up.
And then he was on TV ripping dollar bills.
And he knew it. And then, fast forward, and he's probably worth $1 trillion.
Yeah, no, he's just a no BS type of guy. I don't want to speculate on his numbers, but I just know him. Action is one of my biggest favorite things. He's just a no bullshit type of guy. Yeah. And he understood it very early on. So yeah, I guess early on Vitalik was trying to show, and it was like, dude, like, you're not understanding Bitcoin if you're trying to build this thing. So from the very origins, I would like to think that Vitalik knew Ethereum was going to rug pull, like, by nature. Like, that, or you just completely ignored, the information that's out there that tells us why centralized is not good. So yeah, shitcoins are shitcoins. That's funny though. That's an interesting story. And sometimes I doubt that or whatever. But with Keiser, I don't doubt that one bit. He first of all, he doesn't even need to talk about Vitalik. If anything, he helped Vitalik out on that one. Right. Gave him a little love there. But yeah, it's a shitcoin. It hasn't changed. I'm sure Keiser feels even more extremely against it now from what it's become. This supposedly supercomputer of the world or something like that. What does that mean? That doesn't even mean anything. But anyways, yeah, that was an interesting fun fact or whatever. Had a fellow pleb, Honk Hogan.
Yep.
Or is it Hogan Honk? Either way, you know who you are. Thanks for the love. Yeah, it's Honk Hogan. Appreciate you, man. I love especially every time Honk comes in with the actual Hogan memes. And like, it's like legit. I didn't know there was that many Hogan memes until Honk. And Honk puts me on every time. But shout out to Honk, listener of the show, friend of the show. He reached out to me and just asked me if we did anything about Trezors. We don't do device specifically. I have a Trezor sitting right there, 2 models. But he the updates, man. The updates are killing Honk. Honk, I feel you, man. They kill everybody, man, and they're nerve-wracking. They always feel like they're going to break. They always feel like they're bigger than they're supposed to be, and you never really know.
Is this a software update?
Yeah, Trezor just had good question. Trezor just had a recent software update, I believe, to both the device and their Trezor dashboard or whatever, their software, their UI. Ledger did too. Yuck, Ledger. That new design that have you seen Ledger's new design?
I got it loaded on my computer.
Yuck, Ledger. Yeah. They went with whoever your designer is, completely messed up. The dashboard still looks the same, but they changed their icon and they try to get oh man,
backwards.
Oh man, it just looks it's a bad design. But anyways, yeah. So back to Honk. I usually give people advice on this, and I say 2 things. It's okay to wait 3 to 4 weeks after an update, right? Because you want guinea pigs like me to go in there and beat it up and test it and do all that stuff. So that's first and foremost. I wouldn't rush to get any hardware update for any devices because very rarely are they major. Very rarely are they necessary Bitcoin updates, if ever. Most of the time, they're just features that they add on or patches of holes that they found in the security or somehow, some way. So 2 things I say is, wait the 3 to 4 weeks. It's not going to kill you. Your Bitcoin is safe. It's not going anywhere. That's very important. The second one is that I tell people all the time, this is a good opportunity before you even bother to update to go double check your seed words. Make sure you know where they're at. Make sure you at least have an idea where you don't have to pull them out because I know some people have OPSEC and they have it hidden very well. Just know that you're comfortable recovering and know that you can get it. Because devices do crap out, and this isn't just hardware wallets. This is any device. I don't know if you ever noticed that when you're updating your computer, it says, hey, make sure the power supply stays in this bitch, because if it shuts down in the middle of this, it's bricking. This is any device that needs updates goes through this problem. Trezors, ledgers, code cards, none of them are immune to this. Make sure those 2 things are right. We're on Bitcoin Twitter all the time. If code card or Trezor drops an update that's shitty, it won't take long for Bitcoin Twitter to pick up on this. It's going to go on a rampant fire. So just give it a week. Give it 2. If you don't hear anything, ask around. There's a lot of people that, like me, that jump on updates very early on.
Or just search on Twitter. Trezor update. And
yeah, I
mean,
you guys, I give this up to anybody who knows me or wants to reach out to me on Twitter. I constantly work with these devices and update these devices. Let me know. Reach out to me. I'll let you know what I see, if there's anything weird or whatever. Now, I'm not going to do like a weekly check with y'all. But yeah, if you have a question, I do work with these devices constantly for what I do at Unchained. But yeah, it's a logical reason to fear these things because your Bitcoin's there. If you don't have a multi-sig, it's all dependent on that one device. It's a single sig. Also a reason why honk, explore multi-sig if you haven't already. It just makes sure that if one craps out, you still got two other options. But yeah, there's nothing wrong if you follow those two, honk. Wait 3 or 4 weeks, and if you don't want to do that, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure you can get back to your Bitcoin. So you order a new Trezor or you go back. I don't think Trezor lets you do it, but you can usually like flash the previous version, go backwards. Whatever it takes. But
that update.
Yeah, as long as you can even go into like a Sparrow and recover your 24 words. So it doesn't even have to be a hardware wallet. You can, if you break yourself out, you can go make a move somewhere else really quick, as long as you have those 24 words. So it's a really good time during firmware update season. I don't think there's a season, but like that time comes around for your device. Stall a little bit. Historically, there's been problems sometimes, not major, but rarely do these updates actually affect Bitcoin. Like they're usually like around the Bitcoin core. And then just make sure you can recover and feel comfortable with recovering. That's all. That's the only advice I got for you, Honk. Once again, thanks for being a friend of the show. Appreciate you. Appreciate the love. And if you want like actually to go deeper into it, then I'll pull one of these out and we'll go deeper into it. But I think those two rules set pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got anything else to add there on that one?
Yeah, no, just thinking through multi-sig. Got that device. I got that ready to go. I want to give that a shot.
It's crucial.
Yeah, man. Obviously still thinking about CoinJoin and like what is the appropriate CoinJoin amount. So gonna work on that stuff.
Also depends on who you ask, right? Let's do saying that stack better be bigger than the other stack. But there's a lot of complexities that come with CoinJoin and it's early. It's early. Like when you do Whirlpool and stuff like that, and it's like man, like it's back to like the slush pool effect where it's like, man, like you won't get a fucking Whirlpool in for like a day. And your computer has to be on. You have to be connected to Samurai, unless you have like the Samurai stack, which is like their node with their, then it's cool because your node runs all the time and it's connected. Mm-hmm. But like if you're using like Sparrow to run Whirlpool or Wasabi to do CoinJoin, like I believe, I don't know about Wasabi 100%, but I know for sure with Sparrow, the thing has to stay connected. And you can go a whole fucking day and not get a single spin. Now, the cool part is that once you're in the pool, you don't pay the fee. So it's kind of like a free ride every time and you're waiting for the free ride.
Yeah.
But like, damn, man, like when you have like a strategy in mind, and maybe this was my fault for doing it. Like I actually had like I want to Whirlpool it a certain amount of times and go somewhere else. Like,
yeah.
Some people are like, dog, just leave it there. You have the private keys to that Whirlpool wallet. Like, why don't you just leave it? Fair enough. I don't know. I'm paranoid. That's why. Like,
I'm with you.
Yeah, like I can't 2 of 3 my Whirlpool wallet. Not yet.
Facts.
So like that's what it is. But that's the thing. Like some people are gonna tell you that's worth the risk of going through all that to non-KYC your stack. I agree with those people. I'm still a middle of the ground guy. Like I try to build a non-KYC stack. But for the most part, convenience, especially when prices doing blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
When I got it, I got it. I'm gonna pay for it when I got it. The easiest way to do it, and maybe that's a fault of mine and something I got to improve. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Get on Zero Trend.
Yeah, that's just.
I like it, man.
Isn't that just like Bitcoin maximalism embodied?
Yeah. Or what's the opposite with the fiat? Grim Reaper? I don't know. What would you call? Yeah, like somebody who just knows, like that holding that is probably the worst thing in the world. I definitely not OPSECing myself. We had a conversation before this.
Mm-hmm.
I guess unconsciously, one that is a maxi kind of lives this way. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Like it's just smart to do.
Even if you're not a Bitcoin maxi,
sure, no.
You look at the world. You look at the financial picture. You look at the USD. You see how much has been printed. You know that like inflation is here. They're now telling you it's here.
Yep.
They're saying it's 6%. It's like 15 to 20
for sure.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to kind of see that. And so, like, you have to have your money in hard assets, right? Real estate, some kind of stock, or Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin beats all three. But I had that conversation in my group. Someone had mentioned. I think I had posted a real estate post. Someone had said, they're borrowing to buy a house at 3% when inflation is double that. So he's like, my spread is already 3 points.
Yeah.
Now do that for Bitcoin and your spread 100 plus in a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's legit a no-brainer. But I think, again, the more you learn about Bitcoin, the more you really see what's going on with the U.S. dollar, it's a no-brainer that you need to convert from cash to something harder. So
yeah. No, I love the trend. It's a good trend. Back to the strike, conversation we were having. There'll be more and more apps that'll make this easier to do.
Yeah.
But to me, it's no problem because I have the know-how to know how to liquidate Bitcoin if I have to. Haven't done so yet. Yay! I don't plan on it. But the ability to know that gives you comfort in living on that zero diet, if you want to call it.
Or even think about the people who people who are in between countries and they have to change currency. Like say if I lived here and I lived in I don't know, DR or somewhere that has their own native currency, like you'd go to the border and exchange, one currency for another. This is just that, and it's a better store of value.
Yeah, I just want Bitcoin native companies to do it before the banks do it.
Facts.
That's all I'm waiting for. But yeah, I unconsciously did this because of that, because I understand from historical perspective that the bank will shut down tomorrow morning. And then it's pointless. I don't care what you got there. And then I understand your hard asset thing, but I pay no attention to that hard asset comparison because there is none, right? Because if you peg your house to the dollar, it's going to crash with the dollar. If you peg your house to all that, it's going to crash. Bitcoin, even if the USD value pegs and it crashes, the value of it does not. So it's not even a comparison. And I know you're just being very general. I know you're just kind of entertaining the conversation. And so I guess I'm maxi to that point where
no, I'm with you.
My brain space just doesn't have the time to worry about that stuff.
Someone had tweeted, they were like, sell your house for 10 Bitcoins because it's really not worth that. And people don't even understand that. They can read that, but they don't get that.
If the house wasn't pegged to the dollar, it would be. It's just pegged to the dollar. It's just back to the bank owning the mortgage. You don't own the fucking house. The fucking dollar owns the fucking house. The bank owns the damn house. So we talk about bandwidth. Lately, I've been getting better on bandwidth. Somebody really wise that's been around me told me did what everybody knows, but sometimes you need wise people to tell it to you. Saying no is the best thing. Saying no is the best thing you can do for yourself and for other people. You just say no. And when it comes to conversations like that, fam, go talk to somebody who's energetic about that stuff. My brain doesn't have the capacity to give a damn about tying Bitcoin to houses and to doing all this crap and telling you to leverage points and all. I know there's a world for that.
Yeah.
But there's time for that. There isn't time for Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? This 90% cap that we're about to get into, this is a real thing. Man, there's no scarcity in houses, dude. There's no scarcity in land. They want to tell you that there is. There fucking isn't, because they'll knock some shit down and build some other shit up. So, that conversation's muted to me. Yeah. And it makes me ignorant in certain avenues, but it gives me more signal than it gives me noise.
I hear you.
It's just one, and you got to be dumb sometimes. I'm cool with that. I don't know shit about that. Fantastic. But my signal is on point.
Yeah.
You have a lot of noise because you're trying to figure out noisy environments.
Yeah.
That real estate, it. That's a noisy environment, dude. That shit, stock market, noisy environment. That's all noise that doesn't give you any signal or doesn't give you any power to do anything with your fucking decisions. You always got to go to somebody to ask them permission to do some motherfucking shit. And I know this because when I got out of my fucking 401k, and I'm going on this tangent because
it is crazy.
They tell you it's yours, but it's not yours.
Facts.
And you only know this when they tell you, fam, you can't.
Yeah. So on the same point, Strike talks about the importance of getting paid hourly, getting paid daily, right? Yep. Or multi-sigging, and when the work is done, the money is immediately yours.
Yeah.
I know someone who was put on unpaid leave because they wouldn't get the jab, and then they're like, all right, you're on unpaid leave until you get that. On top of that, we're going to withhold your last 2 weeks of pay.
Yep.
So it's fam, no, that should be an instantaneous transfer.
What are we asking permission for? I'm very confused. And what you go through life, this is where the ownership thing, you go through life wondering, not caring about that until you need it.
Yeah.
And when you need it, they've already done so much washing of it and so much bullshit with it that they can't even hand it back to you. And some situations, they may not even have it on the books to give back to you. It's just like a credit that just sits there for you. And when I went and I did all these things, nah, fam, you can't do this. Nah, fam, you can't do that. Oh, you got to sign this. Oh, you got to. Why? And this is the problem that I don't get. So once again, if I'm ignorant in real estate, cool. But why am I wasting my brain power on something you don't own? You can say you own it. Sure, you got the IOU that says you own. You got the little piece of paper right there that says Jose Burgo owned this house. Fantastic. Jose Burgos can sell this house. Fantastic. But go and sell that house and try to call some rules. So you can see them backfire at you and be like, well, hey, that's not part of the internal revenue source code. Or bam, y'all spent all this time telling me that the shit was mine. It's not mine anymore.
Yeah.
I'm good, bro. I'm good. This is why get to zero is very important.
Yeah.
It's not realistic for everybody. I get that.
Yeah.
Pay your damn bills. You strike. Hey, pay your damn bills. Get your 5% on. Have some to, hang out with your kids, hang out with your wife. Well, that's fantastic. It's easy to align what it is that you spend and completely dump everything else.
Yeah.
That's easy to do if you just sit down for a little bit and just run the books, run the numbers, see what you do. You got this to go, and then now you can listen to Bloomberg here. You got this, it goes. You know it goes. But damn it, the rest of that thing, every single bit of that needs to go to Bitcoin. I don't give a shit about the other assets. You could go waste your time on that shit. It needs to go to Bitcoin because it's the only thing that if the dollar value, like if you see Bitcoin drop to zero, won't happen, you at least know that there's a huge global consensus of people that'll still pay you top dollar for that asset. Try to do that with your house.
Yeah.
Even when it collapses.
Yeah, the Turkish lira that went down over 10% in a month. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, what does that do to all the property over there in Turkey?
Down 20%.
Come on, man. Come on, man. And then that's when they're fuck that. And listen, if it's mine, it's mine. And if it's not, it's not. That needs to be clear from the very beginning. And unfortunately, all the roots of fiat always lead to this like masky, smoky mirrors thing. Where up front, you can tell your family and you can tell your friends that you own shit. But in the background, you don't own a damn thing. And not only do you not own a damn thing, they've leveraged the things that you so-called own to be able to suck more from you. So it's like a double-sided trap. It's like, right, you see this? I don't own this, but to pay it, to keep it, to like upkeep it, you guys milk me in the process.
Yeah.
Somebody put this somewhere along the lines. I don't know where I saw this. Like, yo, the mouse doesn't realize why the cheese is for free. That's why it keeps going and getting itself killed. Because it just doesn't get it. It just doesn't get, shit. Why is somebody coming here and leaving this nice block of... That's what they're doing. So forgive me, people, if you want to talk to me about other assets being like Bitcoin and my brain just shuts off. Excuse me. I'm ignorant.
Yeah.
Let me be ignorant. Let me go about my way.
So speaking of fiat houses,
yeah.
Right, I think it's Camila from Swan Bitcoin. She posted a video, I think in El Salvador somewhere. Or it was a person speaking Spanish.
Yep.
And they were showing off houses. And they were like, the guy was basically saying, yeah, these parts used to be in plywood. Now they're in cardboard because wood's getting so expensive.
Come on,
bro.
Man. Come on, what's the cardboard going to do for your house, man? And these are tropical environments.
It's probably sheetrock around that, but...
That don't matter. That don't matter. What is that going to do when the next hurricane come by?
Right.
It's going to wipe it off. Listen, I see why people would say sell your house for 10 Bitcoin. This is nothing financial advice. Obviously not. And if your kids are sleeping in a nice house, don't sell it. But you get the point here. Don't also play yourself and think that you actually are doing something with this, that you own this or whatever. Man, they will rape your ass for 30 years and then just dump your ass on the street and then sell your house to somebody else. That's just the way it goes, right? Very rarely does it go like grandma had it, mom had it, kid had it, right? And I bet you even through that whole journey, every single one of those parties that exchanged hands had to deal with harassment, had to deal with some type of stress that should have never happened. Because if grandma and grandpa bought this damn house, why am I even talking to y'all? This is ours. But it's not. And that's the problem.
Well, you still got to pay your taxes.
It's not. It's not yours. Because if you don't pay the taxes, what happens? They'll come and rip that house right off the damn
ground. You don't pay the taxes, you lose the house. And if you bought the land, you lose the land.
Fam.
So you don't own it.
Yeah, so bro. Yeah, if you want to, if other people want to compare assets and tell me that holding real estate is a good move and it's similar to this and it's hard money, it is not hard money. It's a hypocrisy to pin something to soft money and then call it hard. It doesn't make just because it's actually a physical structure. And yes, you can leverage it, of course, and do all this stuff, and that doesn't make it hard money. It just makes you smart at learning the fiat tricks.
Yeah.
If you're good at real estate, you just understand fiat games. And you're good at it. That's a skill. In this world that we're going to, it's not an honorable skill, and it won't scale. You're going to bump into the wall where your houses that you're doing all these fiat tactics to sell for a higher price, and the Bitcoin world, they're going to be like, nah, fam, I'm not giving you this many Bitcoin for that thing.
Bro, looking at houses around here that are like, how is this price when it looks half that?
But the fiat game of the people selling the house, the fiat game of the people that do the contractual work, the lawyers of the fiat game of the house rebuilders, right? That kind of like put this like it's sort of like a presentation. They make it look incredible so they can sell it, but they really put minimal work into this. Like this, those are all fiat fucking games that were required in that world because we all need to come up. We all need to get a check in that world. It's different now, man. Well, at least for me. That doesn't scale to me. Like, that's why the stuff that's flashy never impresses me. It impresses people, but it never impresses me because it's like, you only got that because you had to scheme on somebody to do it somehow, some way. I would love to go honorable and say, you provided an excellent service or an excellent product. That is the real way to do it. But unfortunately, that just really rarely happens anymore. It's just not one of those things. Because if you play that game level-headed like that, you got to take loss. You got to take loss. Because the dude that's doing the shady shit in your space is to eating all your cookies. Because everybody's used to marketing tricks and everybody's used to all this stuff. So they're going to move in that direction. And then now you got to stoop yourself a little bit lower to like lower your standards a little bit. Not always, but lower your standards a bit in order to compete with the motherfucker that's giving them half the price because they're shysting it. Right? Because people's signal is always what's cheaper. Right? For the most part. Not everybody.
No, what's cheaper? Too. Who was the cheapest?
Right. Yeah. So Homeboy's going to cheapen you out, not because he has a better product or because he does it better or because he's faster or because of any of these, things that you can excel at, just because he knows how to do marketing tricks and knows how to like propel his image to look a certain way.
Right.
Influencer, house rebuilder, right? Yeah. And this isn't across the board. I don't want to call out all house rebuilders and call them dirty. I know some people really love doing that stuff and it's a thing. Unfortunately, though, you're outweighed by the people that don't. And it goes back to the whole police thing. Mm-hmm. Some great police officers. Sure. Fantastic. Sorry, buddy. You're falling into the wave. It's just one of those things. Because now I have to spend time discerning who's good from bad. And people are not going to spend that time. People are just going to literally throw you in the bucket. Same thing. Yo, you're selling houses that are not worth their value because you know the fiat tactic of it and all that stuff. And you're jipping that person's future growth because they're going to get a 30-year mortgage to get your half-ass rebuilt property. You're going to get the come up immediately. And in 15 years down the road, their life is going to be stifled by your false move. Because now the plumbing needs to get completely redone. Now the fucking roof needs to get completely redone. Now all this shit needs to, and guess who got to pay for that? Not the fiat tactor that bounced 15 years before, but the person who took the 30-year mortgage. And what are you doing to their life now?
Imagine buying at the high before the 2008 crash.
Yeah.
Right? You buy at a
We're talking real estate?
We're talking real estate.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
You buy at the high, and then the market crashes, and you need a new roof, and you lost your job. Like, people lost their house, man.
Yo, and you're telling me that you and this happened to my pops, so you're telling me that now the dude that showed you the sightsee house who's sitting back and you can't be mad at that dude? Yeah, that dude just set you up for failure. He knew something that you didn't know. That's a fiat trick. And that's how they get paid. That's why, flashy shit doesn't impress me, man. Action impresses me. Because flashy shit is easy to come by, especially when you're good at fucking people over or just not people in general, the situation over and playing fiat tactics. So, most of the stuff that's flashy comes from that, man. That's just the type of thing. And then they show it off in people's faces that they've already fucked. Once again, in the same example, if I buy a house from somebody and I get fucked 10 years down the road, I better not see Fam on Instagram talk about he got his Benz riding up and down the street. Because Fam, if I see you in your Benz, we're going to have some words. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I hope you do. And if I'm not, then I'm wrong. But that's how I see these things, man.
Yeah, and I hear you.
It's just one of those things. 90% supply was mine. I don't know the exact block. Maybe I got the link here. Maybe I can see that here. Can you give a little context on what that means?
Yeah, so Bitcoin will be mined until the year 2140-ish. And so 90% of the supply is mined, right? So you got, I don't know, over 118 years to mine Bitcoin. And it's, every 4 years, the supply will be lessened. And so again, there's 21 million Bitcoin. There are 7 billion people on the planet. There are corporations and other entities that are going to be buying this thing, and it's still early.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but $69,000 Bitcoin, it's still early.
Yeah.
So
21 million is the whole value of it. It means nothing without it. It's the single pillar on the top. If you need to learn anything from the very beginning, learn 21 million. Learn why it's actually a fact and why it can't be changed. And you will do yourself a big favor. That's the only reason this matters. The scarcity is that big thing. Other properties matter, just not when you talk about weight. It's just not as big as the supply cap. The supply cap gives it everything. We talked about it in previous episodes. My whole thought is US dollar failing? Yes. Is 21 million still a thing? Yes. Proceed. This is just the easy way to chop it down. 90% of that 21 million is gone, out of circulation or in the hands of other people. Mm-hmm. Some of it locked out, some of it frozen. If you guys don't understand scarcity, and we're telling you that this stuff has like global impact, like it's changing lives all over the world. Like you said, that number there, that rough number of 7 billion people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like. What is it? Not gonna make it? then you're not
You're
gonna
not gonna make it.
Yeah. At that point, I don't really know.
And GMI, like people are like, oh, my 10x this, and I just want to come up that, and Bitcoin's slow and laggy. It's like, fam, you don't get it, bro. You're not gonna make it.
Never. They're never gonna make it. It's gonna be one of those things. It's this. You can overcomplicate Bitcoin. I got family members that I talk about this stuff all the time. You can definitely overcomplicate it. It has the ability to do so. It has all those properties to have a nice long conversation about it. But you got to understand why it's important. You got to understand scarcity, and then you got to understand how it's solving problems. And then underneath that, if you want to get to a third step, what the dollar's doing or what the dollar has been doing and what it's capable of. That's it. Yeah. You got Bitcoin right there. You're gonna be like, oh, you're gonna get to zero quick.
Mm-hmm.
Just checking here in case we're still recording.
Yes, sir.
Yep, we're still good. Yeah, so it's just one of those things. I think we got in here with get on zero and all that. But fact of the matter is 90% left. You can hold cash, or you can hold Bitcoin, get a piece of it, $1 million Satoshi, whatever you want to call it. Satoshi millionaire. That's actually what it is. Get on that at the current price. I don't even know what the price is, but let's say that's about $500. Get a million Satoshis under your belt. Start doing some research. Start listening to the show. Start sharing your information that you're learning as you go, because that sparks the best conversations with other Bitcoiners when you're kind of bring your perspective to it. So just do these things, and you will be in a good situation to at least ride out the wealth transfer, right? Like there's a lot of things that Bitcoin can't fix, right? Like there's a lot of things in the world that are still rotten. That wealth is not the fixer there. It's something else. But wealth and being able to transfer wealth historically is what you need to survive, right? You talk about bartering. We talk about doing all these things. So you're setting yourself and your family and your legacy up to be extremely successful and extremely positioned to do well. Really, in a lot of different, like whether the world goes up and we start to see flying cars and all this, or whether the world starts to go more dystopic, you still put yourself in a very good position to transfer wealth when nothing else can parallel or even match it. So 90%, man, it's already been mine.
Yeah, man. There was an article that talked about USD confiscation.
Yep.
Person had like $100,000. They went through the airport and,
hey. Yeah, that's nonsense though.
Give me that 100. That's mine.
Yeah.
Did
they say what the dude was doing? I mean, because that's fishy though. Let's be real here. Who the fuck walks by the airport with that much money?
Someone trying to buy a property in Puerto Rico. Someone trying to buy a property in Dominican Republic.
I'm with you. Like, I get it. But that's not a common thing though.
And on top of that,
if you're coming from DR, you definitely got blow.
You're going to DR. Like we're looking
buy
at
blow.
We're looking at rentals out there that are like 1 to 120. So it's like, how else do you either go to DR, you get like a 5-year term, bro.
Yeah, bet.
And they give you a crazy interest rate.
You wouldn't jump on a plane with that much money.
No, I wouldn't, because I know that they take it from me.
So that's my question. No, not because of that. Because somebody else will take it from you. The hungry dude outside in the airport will jack you for that if he knows. Somebody, basically, I'm not saying that will happen.
I see what you're saying.
You're introducing a lot of risk.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
this is the old Michael Saylor sending gold thing.
Yeah.
You send gold. You need to
risky.
get guns and you need to get, right?
Yeah, it's risky. Yeah.
Right.
Same idea.
So I feel the dude. You want to make a purchase. What I'm telling you is, my man, you're kind of ignorant if you think you're going to walk by and nobody's going to say shit. That's a lot of money to be walking around with.
But saying thing is one thing, but confiscating it and saying, hey, we're going to hold on to this.
Fair.
You're probably not going to get it back.
Like, transfer it to my bank account. Like,
Keiser had posted, they call it, I think asset forfeiture, where they take cash, and like the amount of cash that they take every year is crazy. He posted up to like 2015. It was like in the billions. I was like, how is this legal?
Oh, it's not. It's mafia.
Bro.
Yeah, it's just position fiat fucking tricks, man. I come on by fucking up a whole subset of people. That's how people get on. That's just the way it is. So somewhere along the Western Union lines and all those connections and all those early things, it was just like, oh, how do we could start as, hey, we charge this for a service. This is just what we do because we need to pay employees and all that. And then it just becomes a monopoly. At that point, it's like, yo, we're about to steal from you now.
On that trip, we got pulled over. We got a speeding ticket.
All
right. I won't say who was driving.
It's definitely you.
and
I'm sending me F1 docs. It's definitely him.
and I'm just like, yo, what does this do, son? Like we were doing 70 and like a 60 or 65 or something.
Ticket?
Yeah, so like you get a ticket for a couple $100, but what does this do, bro? Like, and then even like I've been in New York lately, and like if you run like a stop sign or you prematurely move off a stop sign or a light, like they'll send you tickets in the mail, and it's like, bro, this is just extortion at this point.
It really is.
ATM fees, $3 a pop. This is extortion, bro.
It really is.
That's how you generate trillions, billions.
Yeah. And do it passively. Like, they don't even have to try. They just got to put the machine.
And if you don't pay it, you're going to get a warrant.
It's mafia. It's like the highest form of mafia that has ever existed. It's like legitimized mafia. It's funny. It's not funny, but like it's like, crazy. What the fuck is happening? But that's because we gave them all that authority. So like, we keep circling back to things, but that's great. It's the hardware, the cold storage solution. You have to own this stuff. Whether it's a mortgage you have backed by Bitcoin, a loan you have backed by Bitcoin, whatever they have, an IRA, you got to make sure you own it. You got to make sure you own it, because these banks, especially the ones that are trying to come on, are gonna do the rug pull. They're gonna just be like, oh, well, guess what? New rules came out.
We don't like your social media
holding this Bitcoin. My Bitcoin.
You got a court date.
My Bitcoin now.
Yeah.
So we need to stay away from that stuff in all shape or form. This has been a great show. I think the only thing we missed here was, and we're already at the hour mark, is the offline lightning vending machine.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see the video. I posted in the show notes because I do have the link here. Just incredible stuff.
Innovation,
guy,
man.
Yeah, this guy just built. I still don't understand. I don't have enough knowledge on offline lightning. I don't know how that works or whatever.
I'm assuming NFC.
Something has to broadcast at some point somewhere, but I don't know if it just batches transactions and then kind of
pulls them off.
Yeah. I don't know. But super cool idea. Vending machines are a good passive idea anyways to make some dough. Now you can get Bitcoin for it. Fantastic. And I tell you this, plebs or anybody, if I walk by a Bitcoin vending machine,
it's on my phone now. Yeah, I'm splurging.
Yeah, we're going to get some stuff on that machine just to show some love. It's just an interesting thing.
Let me get 4 of those ice creams.
But it just goes to how fast we're moving. And that's funny. But yeah, this dude, it was like a little mini fridge, but it was like a beta prototype thing. And I was like, oh, this is dope. Check out the video. It'll be in the show notes. Got anything else for them, man?
No, good to go.
We appreciate you guys as always. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely hit the subscription button, hit the bell. That notifies you whenever there's a new fresh 4K video up for the episode. You guys can follow along with us. We appreciate that. Leave some comments so we can interact with you, so we can float up on the algorithm. That applies across the board. If you're listening to the audio of this on your favorite podcasting platform, we're on all of them for the most part. Leave a comment. It helps us float up a little bit higher, and it helps the algorithm out. More people get this knowledge. More people get this love. If you're using Fountain app and you're using any other podcast 2.0 powered app, definitely stream us some sats. It's greatly appreciated. It helps keeps the light on. But either way, get your knowledge, get your love. Anything else?
Good to go, bro.
Good. Episode 45 is wrapped up. See you later, guys.
All the opinions expressed by Jose and Ben or any of the guests on this show are solely their opinion and their opinion alone. Their opinions do not reflect the opinions of any of the sponsors or other parties involved in the recording of this show. Do not treat any opinion expressed by Jose and Ben as a specific endorsement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy. Their expressions of their opinion on this show is purely for informational purposes.